If one of your children came home and said, Dad, I'm gay, how would you react to that?
I'd say, get the gun, let's go kill a deer. Inconsequential.
You wouldn't mind, morally?
Not at all. I'm repulsed at the concept of man-on-man sex. I think it's against nature. I think it's strange as hell. But if that's what you are, I love you.
In the world of rock and roll, few figures have generated as much controversy as Ted Nugent. Known for his bluesy guitar riffs and energetic performances, the self-proclaimed Motor City Madman has built a career that spans decades. But beneath the surface of hit songs like Cat Scratch Fever and Stranglehold lies a web of disturbing allegations and controversial relationships that have haunted Nugent throughout his career. Recently, these whispers from the past have grown louder as someone who once shared intimate moments with the rocker has stepped forward to confirm what many have long suspected. The two faces of Ted Nugent.
No, I would never turn against this wonderful tool that brings me self-defense capabilities and brings me great joy.
Theodore Anthony Nugent emerged from Detroit in the late 60s as the lead guitarist for the Amboy Dukes, quickly establishing himself as a formidable presence in psychedelic and hard rock. His transition to solo stardom in the mid-70s cemented his place in rock history with multi-platinum albums like Ted Nugent, Free For All, and Cat Scratch Fever. Known for his frenzied guitar playing and high-energy performances, Nugent cultivated a wild persona that resonated with fans across America. Yet as his musical relevance waned in later decades, Nugent reinvented himself as something entirely different, a conservative political firebrand. He embraced gun rights advocacy, joined the National Rifle Association's board of directors, and became an outspoken critic of liberal policies. He positioned himself as a defender of traditional American values, often speaking about family, self-reliance, and clean living. The transformation presented a striking paradox. While publicly denouncing drug use and advocating for substance-free living, principles he had indeed followed throughout his career, Nugent seemed less consistent in other areas of personal conduct. He projected an image of moral authority, while a trail of disturbing stories about his past behaviors continued to surface. The Uncle Ted persona he cultivated, the straight-talking, bow-hunting, family values conservative, has long existed in the uncomfortable tension with accounts of his relationships with young women. A pattern of concerning relationships. Throughout his career, Nugent has been dogged by allegations regarding inappropriate relationships with significantly younger women. Perhaps most notorious was his relationship with Hawaiian native Pele Masa, which began in 1978 when she was only 17. Unable to legally marry due to her age, Nugent convinced her parents to sign documents making him her legal guardian, a troubling workaround to age of consent laws. This was not an isolated incident. By his own admission, Nugent has fathered children with 4 different women. His marital history includes 2 wives, Sandra Jazowski from 1970 to 79, and his current wife, Shemaine Desiel, since 1989. But extends beyond these formal relationships. In 2005, court documents revealed Nugent agreed to pay $3,500 in monthly child support for a son fathered with a woman named Karen Gutowski while married to Desiel. Adding to these concerns is Nugent's 1981 song Jailbait, which explicitly describes sexual acts with a 13-year-old girl, material that would be considered unacceptable by today's standards, but somehow failed to derail his career at the time. The song's existence takes on greater significance in light of the recent confirmations about his behavior. More troubling still are accounts from others who encountered Nugent in his prime. Musician Courtney Love has publicly stated that she performed oral sex on Nugent when she was underage, claiming on different occasions that she was either 12 or 14 at the time of the incident. These patterns form a disturbing mosaic that stands in stark contrast to the family values platform Nugent would later adopt. The allegations that wouldn't die. For decades, rumors and allegations about Nugent's behavior with young women have circulated through the music industry. While many wrote them off as rock and roll excess or unsubstantiated gossip, they have shown remarkable persistence. Courtney Love's claims about her underage encounter with Nugent have resurfaced repeatedly, gaining new attention with each telling. More damning are Nugent's own words. In VH1's Behind the Music episode featuring him, Nugent reportedly acknowledged having affairs with underage girls during the height of his fame. These admissions, combined with songs like Jailbait with lyrics explicitly sexualizing minors, created a troubling pattern that the music industry of the 1970s seemed content to ignore. When confronted about these allegations over the years, Nugent's responses have varied from deflection to outright denial. At times, he's attempted to frame critics as politically motivated, suggesting that attacks on his character emerged only after he became outspoken about his conservative views. This defense rings hollow when examining the timeline of allegations, many of which predate his political activism. The music industry of the 70s operated under dramatically different cultural standards than today's post-Me Too environment. Rock stars were often given implicit permission to engage in behavior that would now be considered predatory, with groupie culture normalizing relationships between adult performers and young fans. This context helps explain how Nugent avoided serious consequences for decades, but it does not excuse the behavior. What makes the recent confirmations so significant is that they validate concerns many had dismissed. Someone who was present during this period of Nugent's life has now publicly acknowledged the reality behind the rumors. Political hypocrisy exposed.
You know what I think about America? Unlimited generosity. People traveling thousands of miles to help people they don't even know.
Nugent's transformation into a conservative political figure has been as dramatic as it's been controversial. Since the early 2000s, he's positioned himself as an outspoken advocate for gun rights, traditional values, and conservative politics. He's campaigned for Republican candidates, spoken at political rallies, and even received invitations to the White House under the Trump administration. In his political commentary, Nugent has frequently invoked moral arguments about family values and the importance of personal responsibilities. In a Washington Times piece following the Newtown shooting, Nugent wrote, quote, "As with most things, the cure to this mess begins and ends with the family. Traditional family values have been under siege for decades by our culture of contempt. In the absence of a solid family, the whole thing slowly unravels and rots." These statements take on a different meaning when contrasted with his personal history. The hypocrisy is particularly striking when examining his campaign appearances with candidates like Texas Governor Greg Abbott. When Nugent appeared at Abbott's campaign events, registration reportedly tripled, demonstrating his appeal to certain segments of the Republican base. Yet Abbott's campaign later admitted they weren't aware of the full extent of Nugent's controversial past. Other politicians have had to navigate the complications of Nugent's support. When Mitt Romney received Nugent's endorsement in 2012, his campaign ultimately had to disavow the rocker's divisive language. Even staunch conservatives like Rick Perry acknowledged that Nugent, quote, "shouldn't have said that" regarding comments about President Obama, while Senator Rand Paul called for Nugent to apologize for referring to Obama as a subhuman mongrel. The reckoning. The music industry is currently undergoing a long overdue reassessment of its tolerance for problematic behavior. Artists who were once celebrated despite well-documented transgressions are facing newfound scrutiny, with some seeing their legacies permanently altered by revelations about their conduct. Ted Nugent's decision to embark on a farewell tour, dubbed the Adios Mofo Tour in 2023, takes on a new significance in light of all these revelations. While Nugent framed the tour as a response to the logistical challenges of touring at his age and his desire to spend more time with family, the timing coincides with increasing scrutiny of his past. Public reactions to the confirmed allegations has been divided along predictable lines. Longtime critics view them as a vindication of concerns they've expressed for years, while some supporters dismiss them as politically motivated attacks or attempt to contextualize them within the different standards of a bygone era. Now it's time to hear from you. What are your thoughts about Ted's behavior? Let us know in the comments section below.